again, it is Danielle Iwata here. I wanted to make this video to talk about my time management tips. There are so many factors, especially in the SayABC classroom. So how do you deal with that? I want to help you to be prepared for not any, but the majority of class situations that could happen. So first, let's talk about dealing with 4 students at one time. Four students at one time. And then I will talk about how to deal with them on an individual basis as far as pacing is concerned. So as you would already know, with SayABC, you have up to 4 kids in your class. It's a group class setting. It's not one-on-one. My key suggestion for you is to give equal attention to each student. This is huge. Really, parents are paying for this. So think of it from the parents' point of view. They expect to see their child participating regularly and frequently throughout the class. So it's your job as a teacher to manage that in the classroom. If you have an outgoing student and a shy student, be sure that you're giving them equal attention. I want to share with you my method that I use to keep track. On a whiteboard or on a piece of paper, use it to make a tally. You know those like tallies in school to keep points or when you're playing a game? Make a tally. Ahead of time, you'll probably already see the students' names. Write that on a piece of paper. You could have it to the side as you're teaching, even on a sticky or something. Just have it on your desk ready. So as each student participates, just make a tally mark as they answer. So then you can glance down and see, okay, so Tommy has gone 3, Coco just 1, Tina 0, and you can kind of gauge that, like, even if the outgoing student is always raising their hand, raising their hand, you know they've already gone several times. So maybe even though he's raising his hand, you look to call on the other student. Maybe they don't have their hand raised, but give them a chance. You know, maybe they're shy, maybe they're not used to raising their hands. So use that tally method. Frankly, now, as an experienced teacher, I don't keep a tally every class. It's more mentally. And I also use my reward cards to kind of gauge who has gone and who hasn't. Usually I try to give a student, if they've done a good job, answered correctly, you get a card, yay, good job, woohoo, woohoo. So that helps me to, like, I see how many reward cards have been given out, and I know I'm not giving them out for nothing. But for starting off, you have so many things you're worried about, just keep your tally and glance down at it to know, oh, I've not been equally distributing the chances here. It is always easier to just pick the student who's raising his hand, but like I say, think of it from SayABC management's point of view and from the parents' point of view. They are expecting you as a teacher to manage the classroom and give each student talk time. So as far as pacing is concerned, you might have to call on other students who are not raising their hands, but keep the class moving along, giving everybody a chance. Easy, right? You'll get it in time. You'll get it. Don't worry. I've heard some people, they keep their tally digitally. They have a notes and they put a mark for each student. That might work for you. I just personally prefer the paper. Now I don't even use the paper. It's all mental, but a tally system, whether it's digital or in paper. Okay? Another tip for pacing. Practice, practice, practice. You kind of have to get used to that the class is 40 minutes and the slides are usually about 32 slides. So each slide should be about a minute and a half. I'd say stick it to a minute. I know each slide has a suggested time. Okay, but as a teacher, you have the discretion how much time you would spend on each slide. I would keep it to about a minute per slide. That leaves space for extension. If a student is rambling on a tangent, it leaves space. And keep an eye on your clock. The classroom timer in SayABC, I found it to be wonky. Sometimes it tells me time that's not correct. So I personally just use my cell phone, or on my computer, I have the setting that I always see the clock on my computer. So I know, for example, if my class started at 6 o'clock, it's going till 6:40 and it's 32 slides. At the 16 slide mark, I should be roughly 15 to 20 minutes. So if I'm at slide 16 and I'm at half an hour, or I'm at only 10 minutes, you know you have a problem and you can adjust accordingly. But periodically, keep your eye on the time. If you're a new teacher starting off, you could even put in the notes off your slide. For example, if you have 32 slides, on slide 8, you want to be at the 10-minute mark. Slide 60, 20-minute mark. And you can just put check time, 20 minutes, question mark. I don't know, something like that to help you remember to look at the time. Okay? So practice, keeping the slides to 1 minute per slide. Now note, guys, you as the teacher have the discretion to not do every activity on a slide. If you're running out of time and there's like 6 tasks on the slide, maybe just do 2 or 3 and move on. That's okay. What is not okay is to skip slides. Never, never skip a slide.
Never skip a slide.
But you have the discretion to not do all the activities on the slide per your timing. And this brings me on to the next point about pacing, is plan your blows accordingly. For example, as you probably know, the first 2 or 3 slides are usually all the same for the SayABC curriculum. Introduction, the class rules, and a review or warm-up. Go through that quickly. Do not spend your time there. That is not where the meat of the lesson is. Usually, we all know each other's names. Hello, 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 welcome, welcome, hi, hi, hi. Because throughout the lesson will be a chance for them to talk. You could ask them more about what they think about it, but do not spend your chunk of time in those first 3 slides. The second slide will be the rules. Blow through that. Those kids are gonna hear this 9 times.
9 times.
Do not spend your time there. I usually just drag 1 student per rule up, have them read it quickly, good job, move on. I don't spend much time prepping now. About 5 minutes before class, I click through, I see where the review is, I see where the new lesson points and objectives are, so I know, oh, this slide is coming up. I really want to spend time on the new vocabulary or something like that. So kind of know where you want to spend your time on, and don't get lost in those beginning slides, spending a chunk of time that you can't get back on something that is not as important in the lesson. How do you handle the song? That can take up a huge chunk of time, right? How do I do it? First, let's listen. Have us all click the play, have us all listen to the song. Everyone's on mute. I'm pretending to be singing with my microphone. Okay, great. Then I assign 1 student per verse. So not a whole song per student. That's too long. Have 1 student per 1 verse. Then student number 2, the 2nd verse. Student number 3, the 3rd verse. And student number 4, the 4th verse. Divide it equally and give each student a chance, but not the whole song. Again, listen for error corrections. If they make an error, fix it. And then just play the song and have us all sing together. Okay? That would take about 2 to 3 minutes. I have made the mistake where I had each student sing the whole song. That took like 8 minutes. So don't do that, okay? Go quickly, okay? Usually the song will be repeated in the next lesson and the next lesson, so there will be a chance for them to review and practice again. And sometimes the song is even at the end of the lesson again. Sorry, camera died. Okay, so for your new students, be sure that you get to introduce them one by one as they are new. The parents are again looking to see that you are showing an interest in their child. Of course, as you continue to see those students, you don't have to introduce them one by one, just greet them as they come in. But for your first lesson, the first time you meet them, allocate a little bit extra time to really greet these new students and make them feel welcome in the classroom. For your level 0, your beginner students, always, always, always simplify and model. If you don't, you're gonna find you're doing a lot of talking and a lot of blank stares are coming back at you, like this. Your best friend in those beginner classes, what do you see? This is a great way to minimalize your incidental language, that fluff that nobody understands, and get the student to focus on the task at hand. Use modeling to let the student know what you expect from them. Show them. Drag. Drag. Do it for them. Show them on the screen. Something that helps me too is to show a picture. Show your mouse or a picture of a mouse. Show drag. I have a paper oversized pencil. Circle. Circle. You can use that to demonstrate, model, If not, you're going to find you're doing a whole lot of talking and class is not being productive and student output is very low. So simplify the language, and that will help the student to get the point and help us to move on. Use your basic online ESL strategies: TPR, speak slowly, gestures, and modeling. For these beginner students, this is the holy grail. This will help make the class the most efficient. If you have older students or advanced students and classes going too fast, extend. Ask extension questions. Basically, on each slide, you have an opportunity to maximize conversation. Ask them if you're talking about colors or talking about bikes or something. What's your favorite color? Why? When was the last time you rode a bike? Get them to talk about themselves. Come on, guys. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves? So if you have a group of older students, be sure to use that as an opportunity for conversation and maximizing their output or their talk time. If the student simply isn't getting it, you can use your puppet to elicit their response. I see an apple. Good job. What do you see? And you can use that. Again, with SayABC classes, you have multiple students. So you could even use that as a competition factor. Drag one student up, have them answer, good job. Now, drag the next student up and see if they can repeat what the other student said. Use those group classes in your favor. Use the other student, a student who might be more advanced, to model what you want, and then help the student who might be struggling repeat or imitate the other student. Use those group classes in your favor. Instead of getting stuck if they don't know the answer, try to have another student answer and then go back to that student. That way the class can move on in an efficient manner. And with the SayABC classes, try as always as you can to get the students to interact with each other. That is the benefit of these group classes. I know it can be intimidating to have 4 students in one, but try to use it as a positive experience and maximize student output and minimize your teacher talk time. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. If you have any other tips on how to pace yourself well in class or things that have worked for you, please feel free to comment below. I love connecting with you guys, so if you have any questions, you can reach me at my email. I've also left my teacher Instagram account if you want to connect with me there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!